Could you trust me one more time? What is the meaning of all this? Like I told you, I have no right to do that. And you have the right to do away with all of us. No, I'm the one without any rights. I abandoned you all. That was my crime. I swore I'd become a knight who protected you, and now look. So give me another chance. I watched Mamiya closely, hoping my request came through. Am I really allowed to believe in you again? The tears never stopped flowing from her eyes. I wiped them with a finger and firmly nodded. I'll never abandon you again. Mamiya flew into my arms, and I held her, swearing this from the bottom of my heart. The servants of the Heath Manor were assembled for questioning. At the time, everyone who had worked in this house took collective responsibility for protecting Mamiya. The one who drugged me was still there, so all the required evidence was quickly gathered. I wish I had been told about this, I said to the head butler, who had officially taken the position after his father died. We were coerced, he replied, speaking on behalf of everyone else. He took over the family's debts for them, but he said he'd turn them over to a criminal enterprise. If he did that, it would endanger the lives of both the lady and the master of the house, so when he told us that, we had no choice but to play along with the scheme he presented to us. I truly apologize for this. It's all thanks to how weak-minded we were. So it was pretty much just as written in Minutes' report. Back then, I didn't have the strength I have now. I think I was a talented knight, but my powers would maybe have ranked a B at best. It would have been impossible for me to have protected this house alone. It's all in the past. It's the future that matters. Yes, you're right. I will accept all responsibility for this, so please, try to be lenient to the rest of the staff. The head butler bowed low as the other servants voiced their apologies. That alone showed how ethical and upright a person my father-in-law had been. Please, don't get the wrong idea. It was my fault, too, and I'm not going to push the responsibility on anyone else. Just keep supporting us, all right? We were all at fault here, really. They felt a collective responsibility for the family, and I wanted to join them in that. Sir Caligulio. There were tears in the head butler's eyes, too. But, right after that, he raised an eyebrow, thinking about something. I'd have understood if you wanted to support the lady of the house, but did you say us? He noticed. Huh? Sir Caligulio? What do you mean by that? Now Mamiya was asking, too. Here was the moment of truth. The idea of being rejected here mortified me, but I drummed up my courage and began to speak. Well, I mean exactly what I said. We're all at fault here, meaning that the divorce itself was a mistake. We need to take it back. Don't you agree with me? I spoke as calmly as I could, despite my emotions. Honestly, pushing this line of logic was a stretch. My and Mamiya's divorce had been filed with the relevant Imperial Judicial Office, as was her and Nest's marriage certificate. That was all a done deal, and normally it'd have been impossible to overturn, but I was sure Minutes would figure out a way for me. You mean we'd go back to being a married couple? Exactly. Not a fan? I felt like my heartbeat was drowning out my voice. Are you sure it's all right? Because what I did. That's what I want. And I'd like you to accept the offer. But the drugging. She wanted to say she'd drugged me, I'm sure. But that had all been taken care of. His Majesty Raimuru had fully restored my body, and he had informed me that all my reproductive functions were intact. Any lingering effects of the poison, I think, were long gone. No need to worry about that. I'm pretty sure that's no longer a problem for me health-wise. So would you like to try life as a married couple again? It was a request I made with all my heart. I thought proposing marriage to someone once was good enough. I'd never expected to do it twice with the same woman. But if I couldn't make this work, I was sure life would continue to feel empty. I waited for Mamiya's response, more nervous than I had been before any battle. Her eyes began to shine, as a smile unraveled over her face. She was beautiful. The beauty she had lost over the past 20 years immediately came back. I'd be glad to. My empty heart was filled with joy. And at the same time, the servants cheered for our reunion. I had completed my goal. There was still the matter of dealing with that little man Nest, but his position as the Baron of Heath would be erased as well, so he'd meet his doom soon enough. He would go back to being a merchant, which meant he'd no longer be immune to arrest. His crimes still belonged to him, of course, so I doubt he'd be seeing the light of day again, and since those crimes had been committed on a noble family, his own relatives would likely be implicated, too. I was sure his father was going down with him. Everything is going well here. You can go ahead and put him in custody. Yes, sir. We'll capture and take care of Viscount Zook ourselves, then? Yes, please. I let my staff handle the little details. That wrapped that up. I had patched things up with Mamia, and I now returned to being the Baron of Heath. I guess I should congratulate you on your marriage? Sure. It's not exactly remarrying, though. Minutes and I were drinking again at our preferred restaurant in the capital. Hee hee. Well, either way, I hope things work out between her and you. Thanks. And thanks for handling all that paperwork for me. Yeah, you better be thankful. It was tough. If people brought up statutes of limitations and stuff, I wouldn't have been able to turn anything around. I needed to be a bit forceful at times, which I'm sorry about. I did hear you had some difficulty. Yeah, kind of. But you don't have to worry about it. Think of it as my wedding present. Minute smiled. I appreciate it, I replied, stifling a laugh. He then peppered me with questions about our married life. Oh, stop praising your wife to high heaven. What's wrong with that? I'm just telling you, marriage is wonderful. You should stop living the rich bachelor lifestyle someday, you know. You need to find a woman who'll be your life partner. Shut up. Quit trying to mess around with my private life. Ha 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 ha. Well, you should have been there when I drummed up the courage to finally say it. That's the 5th time you've said that. So what? If you want to hear about it that badly, I'll tell you as many times as you want. Damn, you're pretty drunk, man. I didn't expect you to get this hostile. I had a feeling that I was rambling on about her, not caring about his reaction. But it didn't really matter, I thought. No point dwelling on it. After some more chit-chat, we got down to business. So those documents you gave me. Did they help you out? You said you wanted to have something on me, just in case. But that was a lie, wasn't it? Oh, you noticed? Of course. We're talking about something that happened 20 years ago here, over 10 at the time you did that investigation, even. So how did you get all that private information in such exacting detail? Not even the IIB could do that extensive a job. Hare. I thought you were drunk, too. You're pretty sharp, pointing that out. With Minutes having admitted to it, I was now sure about my convictions. Was it Lady Testarossa? You got it. She gave them to me. Said they might be useful. She's one fearsome woman. You said it. She struck me with nothing but terror. What kind of information network would you need to have gathered that much info on me? I mean, we're talking Blanc, the demon that menaced the Empire for years upon years. The Emperor's guard supposedly sealed her away after the Bloody Shore incident, but at this point, I'm sure that was faked, too. She let herself get sealed off, or maybe sealing her away was bound to fail anyway. That was what made Lady Testarossa so strong, that brain of hers. She was even a thorn in Lady Vielgrin's side, I heard, despite the huge difference in power. That told the whole story, really. The outlook of our military is, if you attempt to take on Lady Testarossa, you'll likely lose on the strategic front. It wouldn't even be a fight, in other words. You better keep that in mind as you work out how to deal with Tempest going forward. Oh, don't be stupid. I know that full well without you telling me. Even if we're not at war, I'm sure every negotiation with her going forward is going to be an ordeal. I have to praise the insight of Sir Raimuru for naming someone like her his chief diplomat. I suppose I didn't need to give Minutes the warning. We were in agreement with each other, which was a relief. But either way, I imagine we're going to keep our cooperative relationship with the monster nation active. For as long as Minutes and I are alive, at least. What happens after that is the key question. The administrators of the Jura Tempest Federation have lifespans that are basically infinite compared to ours. With our empire, meanwhile, people will be constantly leaving and joining our government. Lady Veilgrind is indifferent to politics. She might reluctantly offer assistance if asked, but I still worry about future generations. With Mamiya as my wife, I've restored my desire to cherish my family life. With that comes the concern that some unforeseen disaster may strike the Empire later on. We really need to work out a way to ensure we don't wind up at war with Tempest again. That, plus the right education to maintain peace, is something we owe all our future generations. We've got a tough journey ahead of us, huh? Yeah. There's a mountain of things to do. Minutes must have reached the same conclusion I had. I smiled at him as I tipped my glass. Chapter 4, Mumblings of a Blue Demon. Hello, everybody. My name is Rain. What? You don't know who I am? Don't give me that shit. You better learn my name, or else you're in for it. Go back to school, kid. ... Oh, pardon me. I think I lost it a little there. No, I'm usually quite modest and graceful, but sometimes I fly off the handle a bit. Just every now and then, you know. But since some of you don't seem to know who I am, allow me to introduce myself. As I mentioned a moment ago, my name is Rain. I work as a servant, no, as a maid. I serve as a faithful maid to the Demon Lord Guy Crimson. I've known Sir Guy for a long time. Looking back, I knew him even before the creation of the world. How long ago was that, you ask? How the hell should I know, huh? Do you remember the exact time of day you were born? You don't, do you? It's that sort of thing. I'll be ignoring stupid questions from now on, thank you. Regardless, having been derived from the great spirit of darkness, I was invincible. Or I thought I was. I was a little full of myself, I won't deny that. Consequently, I committed a grave mistake. I joined hands with one of my sisters, a person I had an affinity for, and I attempted to stage a surprise attack on one of our other siblings, someone stronger than us. Looking back, I was such an idiot. He was incredibly strong. I thought fighting him 2-on-1 would make for an easy victory, but we lost big time. The person who beat us was the Demon Lord Guy Crimson, known at the time as Rouge. And while I'm at it, the sister who fought him with me was Vert, now known as Misery. We're very good friends. My work is Misery's to do, and her salary is mine to receive, after all. We're still co-workers today. Rain. Quit goofing off and get the cleaning done. TCH. I just introduced her, and already she's tearing into me. Stupid loudmouth. What did you say? She asked. Nothing. No? I hope not. Close one there. Misery's got a real sharp mind like that. She always notices whenever I take a break, and it's painfully difficult to pull the wool over her eyes. I'll get back to cleaning, just for a bit, anyway, so she won't get mad at me again. Regardless, right, I was in the middle of my introductions. So Misery and I lost to Sir Guy, but that unveiled a certain fact to us. If you can break a demon's core, they'll be eradicated for good. However, if you're a talented primal like all of us are, you can resurrect yourself no matter what happens to you. With true dragons, this process resets their personality even though they keep their memories, but in our case, the personality remains the same, too. Lady Velzard, the ice dragon and companion to Sir Guy, reset her younger brother in this fashion in order to re-educate him, but that won't work with primals like us. Isn't that, totally amazing? I wish I could boast about it all day to you, trust me. But, sadly, there are some disadvantages to this. The resurrection process takes a lot of time, but that's just a little detail. The toughest part is that although you're immortal and all, you have to be eternally subordinate to whoever you lost to. In our case, that was Sir Guy. This discovery triggered a sea change in the power balance between demons, creating a new, heavily skewed sort of status quo. You could call this all our fault, or you could say it was thanks to us, to put a rosier spin on it. Miseri prefers to see it from the former perspective, but I'm more a fan of the latter. Did you know that? You aren't prejudiced against me, are you? Stop looking at me like I'm some wicked child. Besides, you should be paying attention to me. I'm cluing you in on a little demon secret, specifically, how to kill demons. In a way, that is. It's impossible to fully destroy a primal, but you can make them servile to you. It's not exactly as forceful as slavery, so it's not like you have to follow any order given to you or anything. If I wanted to defy Sir Guy, I could. Not that I would. He can force us to obey him a little, after all. Next, I'll talk about the demons directly descended from the primals. Normally, except for that idiot Noir, primals create a whole lot of progenies. They have to follow orders from their boss of the same color, so it's like having a useful army of maids at your beck and call. Using the term create might cause some confusion. I don't want to go into all the little details, but here's a basic rundown. A newborn lesser demon has no color associated with it, you see? It's intelligent, but has no sense of self, and it's really weak, too. This is mostly the type that humans can summon, what we call the enslaved type. When these demons gain sentience, they're called the independent type. When they evolve into greater demons, their natures and personalities result in a set of unique characteristics, which make it clearer exactly which color family they belong to. That, or a more powerful demon might scout them in order to create their own faction. That may be the more common approach to building a following, actually. Miseri's a hard worker, so she still manages her own faction today. She runs several organizations, the Sons of the Veldt being the most well-known one, and they even have clout in the human world. Me? Well, I can't be bothered with all that. Don't roll your eyes at me, you. What? I'm the same as Noir? What utter bullshit. I do have a faction of my own, you know. Being compared to Noir pisses me off, so don't make that same foolish mistake again, please. But back to the topic. Newborn demons don't get involved with factions, but once they evolve into greater demons, that's when they get divided up by color and join one. Some demons are born with a color already associated with them, that's often the case with reincarnated demons. Demons are immortal, so if they die, they just get reborn like that. Even these, however, can be destroyed if their core is shattered, I think. Demons are pretty tough, though, so maybe even losing their soul like that may still be survivable. That's especially true if you're closely aligned with the primal colors. If you're lucky enough to defeat one, though, you also have to break their core, or your victory will have been pointless. By the way, you don't have to be particularly fearful of a newborn, weak-willed demon. They might have battle knowledge, but they're just wimps with no experience, so even destroying their temporary bodies might be enough to kill them. They're nothing worth losing sleep over. So, yeah, those are our secrets. And figuring all this out might just have made our loss against Sir Guy worth it. If anything, I think I did a pretty good job there. Bad news. Bad news. Sir Rimuru really is a freak of nature. I just met him for the first time, but it was crazy how insanely intense he was. What? Didn't I see him at Walpurgis? Shut up. I'm saying that Sir Rimuru is so crazy that last meeting doesn't even matter. That's the only way I can describe it, and I don't think anyone else would do a better job. I mean, listen to this. Sir Rimuru actually decided to evolve us as well. Can you believe that? But it's true. I may be a demon, but I always tell the truth. But now I think we can help out Sir Guy quite a bit. In terms of strength, we're now to the point where Sir Guy would barely give us passing marks. If I decided to take on everyone in the octagram, I don't think we'd beat any of them, but that just goes to show how wonderfully talented the current crop is. Well, Okay, I bet we could beat Lady Ramirez, but I don't think she counts in this example anyway. If she went into her complete form, I think we'd lose big. And I'd love to teach that bum Dino a lesson or two, but if I ever tried acting on that urge, I'd be the one left crying. That's why I let him off the hook. He should thank me for being such a tolerant person. Oh, but I've gone off track. Let's go back to our evolutions. Dot. It all began when Diablo called Sir Guy over. This meant we'd be visiting Sir Rimuru nation, but Sir Guy didn't much like how Diablo was egging him on. I thought about asking to stay at home, since I was bound to get dragged into this conflict, but that would have been shirking my duty. Joining him was definitely the right choice anyway. Sir Rimuru had apparently never met Lady Velzard before, so they exchanged their first greetings. Then, after that, he very politely introduced himself to me as well. He's certainly easy to fall in love with, isn't he? I thought about pretending to be this oblivious little girl and trying to flirt with him as much as I could. Not that I did, of course. I know how to read a room, and I was sure my life would be forfeit if I'd tried it. It was the right choice to make. So began a nice, harmonious tea session. I observed the proceedings from behind Sir Guy, and it struck me that he and Sir Rimuru shared a decent amount in common. They had the exact same reactions to certain things, and I could tell both of them had their hands full with Diablo. Along those lines, they seemed more alike than not to me. It went without saying that I had a much better opinion of him now. But that wasn't all that struck me. First, there was Sir Rimuru's attendants. One of them was introduced as Benimaru, but why did he seem so much stronger than your typical demon lord? And the same was true for Xion next to him, too. She had clearly grown stronger since the last time I met her. I could detect a vague aura of evil around her, making me wonder if she had gained some skill giving her an advantage over demons. What could it be? Because I seriously wasn't sure if I could beat her in battle any longer. But if I ever admitted that, it'd have been tantamount to saying I was no longer worth anything. And I couldn't have that. So I tried to keep myself cool and collected, but it took a concerted effort, you know. Besides, those weren't the only two who were strong here. Wait a minute. This aura. It doesn't belong to Testarossa or any other demon. There's at least 3 or 4 others here. Why are there all these Demon Lord class people serving this Demon Lord? I thought only Sir Guy could get away with that, but perhaps I need to reconsider. As I resolved to do that, I began to smell the aroma of tea. Time for a break, then? But we're maids, so it wouldn't be mannerly to enjoy tea together with them. I assumed I'd have to wait for another chance, but the next thing I knew, I was being guided into the adjacent room. It turned out they had set out some slices of cake just for us. I tell you, I can't say enough good things about Sir Rimuru. In terms of the consideration he shows for others, he's certainly qualified to be a king, I can tell you that much. Now it was time for the taste test. This was a strawberry shortcake, it looked like. Hee. I don't like to brag, but I fancy myself as something of a pro in the kitchen. I once captured and held a chef from a first-class hotel until he taught me all his techniques, so I'm reasonably certain that I'm better than some hobby cook. What I'm trying to say here is that it'd take more than just okay results to impress someone like me, chomp. Oh, this is good. Huh? Are you kidding me? This is, incredible. It looks so simple on the surface, but one bite, and you're exposed to a complex harmony of flavors. They must have gone through the trouble of building each individual layer, then stacking it all up. There are different types of cream between each layer, I think. This must have been an incredible amount of work, right? And given how uniform the taste is, I can see they carefully calculated the distribution of all the ingredients, too. Amazing. My Zeri was just as impressed. In the realm of baking, we mainly specialized in dishes utilizing high-end ingredients, such as fresh fruitcakes and sugar-laden pancakes. Honestly, I never thought you could bake a cake that required this much technique to pull off correctly. Was this made with otherworld techniques? I couldn't help but ask. That's right, Xion replied. This was developed as part of a friendly competition between Mr. Yoshida and Lady Shuna. It's a strawberry shortcake that uses 3 different kinds of cream. It uses a tiny amount of powdered black spell rice, too, so it's well suited to monster palates as well. This Mr. Yoshida, is he an otherworlder, I wonder? Lady Shuna, I knew already, she was the one who guided us to this room and served us the cake and tea. She moved with learned, refined motions, like nothing at all could scare her. I am renowned as a perfect maid, but I had to give her high marks for her service. And if she's this good of a pastry chef, too. I've got some competition, I see. As we were relaxing, enjoying our cake, I decided to speak up to that hateful Diablo. By the way, is it me, or have you grown stronger since the last time you fought me? It had been on my mind for a while. Just one look, and he felt like a completely different person. I couldn't ask him until now, not with Sir Guy and everyone in the conference room, but now was my big chance, and I wasn't going to let it slip. I'll remind you, after all, that Misery and I hadn't been able to gain any new powers since we'd evolved into demon peers. I mean, we had grown stronger thanks to the assorted experiences we had, but apart from that, we had not evolved as living creatures at all. Meanwhile, here's Diablo making it look so easy. Pair. You truly are a pair of fools, aren't you? That was how Diablo chose to respond. I have no idea how he's so skillful at getting under my skin like that. Would anyone mind if I punched him? Go right ahead, my conscience told me. But just as I was about to act on that impulse, Diablo kept talking, interrupting my train of thought. It is all thanks to my master, Sir Rimuru. I have performed well for him, and he has offered me a commensurate reward. Ugh. This bastard. Acting like he's so much better than us. Well, 2 can play that game. Ha ha. He has, huh? I suppose that means you're nothing special at all, then. I agree with you that Sir Rimuru is a great person, there's no doubting that, but that's another story. You, on the other hand, it looks to me like you're relying on him for everything in your life. Well, what do you think? I said it, and I'm not taking it back. You evolved thanks entirely to Sir Rimuru. Your actual strength isn't anything special at all. But. Yes. That's correct. Is that a problem? That bum Diablo confessed to it at once, not even trying to argue. And he's actually smiling at me, too, like he's happy that I understand this so well. I hate him. He makes me feel like such a moron. Can you stop this, Rain? I think it'd be hard for Sir Guy to beat him in a verbal argument, even. The only way this is going to end is with you crying. Not even Misery was on my side. And the worst part was that she sounded like she was right. So, at the end of my rope, I flashed Diablo a dirty look. Then something unexpected happened. With a satisfying thwop, Xion rapped Diablo right on the head. I couldn't even tell you how happy this made me, and to top it off, she started scolding him, too. Quit with all that insolence, you brown-noser. Stop being so rude to our guests at once. Watching this unfold made me pump my fist in the air. I just couldn't help myself, and a quick peek at Misery revealed that she was gleefully smiling, too. And why not? This was so hilarious, I just wanted to burst out laughing. Things quickly devolved into a heated argument between Diablo and Xion, with the 2 of us wholly ignored. It went on until Lady Shuna entered the room. I had no qualms about calling her Lady Shuna by this point. Seeing Xion hold her own in a verbal battle with Diablo was impressive enough, but the way that Lady Shuna immediately shouted both of them down was truly a sight to see. I could learn a lot from that, I thought. And if anything, the biggest surprise of all was that this argument was strictly a verbal one. Both Misery and I were taken aback by that. Lady Shuna had come in to call us back to the conference room, so we meekly followed her. She even informed me along the way that they'd decided to give us the recipe for that cake, at the request of Sir Guy, she said. I wasn't sure how this day could get any better for us, really. So we were taken to the room where Sir Rimuru and his associates were waiting. I immediately took the opportunity to express my feelings to him. You impress me greatly, Sir Rimuru. That cake was nothing short of excellent. Oops. I was too late. Maizeri got it out first. It took me a moment to recover. And I understand you are kindly providing us with the recipe as well? I am nothing short of honored, my lord. Sir Rimuru smiled a bit, like it was nothing special. Well, I appreciate the thanks. If we're going to keep working together, that's exactly the sort of relationship I want to foster with you. We were doing nothing but taking from him, and he called it working together. Such a broad-minded person. But I had no idea what was in store for me. You should thank him more, Sir Guy suddenly said. Rimuru's just agreed to give you some of his power. And so we were granted the great honor of being evolved into Devil Lords. ... You see? It's crazy. I can't even guess what's going on with Sir Rimuru. Even looking back now, the only adjective that comes to mind is crazy. But I'm making effective use of the powers I've been given, so if he ever has a problem we might be able to address, I swear that we won't hesitate to help him. How could we? Our magicule counts are still rising by the day, and we're more of a help to Sir Guy than ever before. This all happened thanks to Sir Rimuru, and I think it's only fair that we should seek to repay the favor. Of course, he already has Testarossa and the others working for him, so I'm not exactly certain if he would ever need the powers of someone like me. But enough humility. Today, once again, it's time to wage a practice battle with Maizeri. Training like this every day is a must if we want to gain a grasp of our newfound powers. So off to the training field I go. Oh? What's a guest doing here at this time of day? Ah, but now's no time for jokes like that. Rain. Someone has broken through our barrier. I know. But this is. It seems now is no time for a leisurely chat, much less a mock battle. I think I had best stop talking to myself now. Here's hoping I'll get to see all of you again very soon. It's with this self-sacrificial spirit that we continue to serve Sir Guy, but it's actually pretty fun for me. Sir Guy has taken a step back from the struggle for supremacy in the underworld in order to go live on the planet's surface for a while. He's a man of integrity, despite everything, so he took us along with him. He even told us you're free to live whatever lives